I'd actually be walking for about 7 hours, but I'd be taking breaks constantly, so it'd probably take me about 10 hours. I'd try to wake up. It really depended on where I was. If I was in a city and there were no bears around, I could start about 6 in the morning, pack up the tent, be on the road by 7, and I'd like to be finished by 5 because it got dark really early there. But with the bears, you can't start too early or finish too late because that's when they're out. So it
Tell us a
was,
bit more about the bear situation, because, of course, on worldwide news on the BBC, we're
mm,
hearing about bears basically mauling and killing people on the sides of roads. And you were camping out on roadsides in the area where the bears are.
yeah,
I know that this was a particular worry for your parents, no
completely.
doubt. So tell us a little bit about that and just how much was that playing on your mind whilst you were camping?
There's definitely a lot of like paranoia going around right now. The people, it was the one thing I learned. Bear in Japanese was the first word I learned because everyone was telling me
What
kuma
is it?
kuma.
Kuma kuma.
Yeah, so I was really anxious about the bears. I think the thing is, if you take the right precautions, I think you tend to be okay. It's more the idea of running into one. So I always carried around a bear bell to scare them off. I had bear spray at my hand at all times, and the thing's lethal. It's like pepper spray. So I always felt okay. I wasn't too anxious. But definitely, I think with recent news articles, people are really anxious about it. And I never wanted to become a hassle and worry other people. So didn't carry around food, walked during the appropriate hours. Yeah, you definitely, there's some concern about it. It weighs at the back of your mind, but
So, Ben, we're always hearing about people doing amazing things for charity.
mm.
People are very generous here in Gibraltar, and they're always trying to raise money for those who need it. But why a trek across Japan? Why something of this scale? What inspired it?
To be honest, I graduated and I wasn't too sure what to do with myself. I'd been applying for a lot of jobs. I'd been hearing kind of negative feedback. I really wanted to get out there and do something that I could be proud of, something that would help my confidence and think, look, if I've done this, I can do anything I want going forward. And funnily enough, I just stumbled across a video of a guy doing a similar thing in 2004, a guy called Tyler McNiven. And he made it look so fun and so appealing. And I was like, you know what? I really want to do the same thing. It was never, at first, it was never really meant to be a challenge. I kind of went into it with, I'll walk as far as I want and I'll stop when I'm done. But then obviously I really wanted to do it for charity. And I said, if I do it for charity, I've got to finish. So at that point, it became the challenge that I wanted to follow.
Were there any moments, perhaps, when your skin was peeling off your feet that you thought, "What have I done?"
Every day. I woke up in the tent, I think, oof, another 6 hours of walking. But I think you just take it day by day, and suddenly before you know it, you've walked further than you could ever think.
So you have hit your £10,000 goal for the Red Cross, I believe. Have you?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
amazing. Well done. Is that a surprise for you?
When I first started, my initial goal was £3,000, and I told my mum, and she was like, "Bueno, let's not get our expectations too high." So to have hit five figures, 10,000, it's way beyond anything I could have expected. I feel really lucky to be part of this community. It's a strange thing because I've given so little of it. It's other people who've been donating. So really, I'm grateful to the community I come from to rally behind something like this.
Well, you might have given little in terms of the funds, the
Mm,
money, but I mean, you've dedicated 135 days, more than 4 million steps. I mean, you've given a great deal, no, to this fundraiser. I think you should be very proud.
thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the mental side of things, because you said about the physical strain on your body and how that is still an issue for you, still aching and sore. Being solitary for so many days, 135 days on your feet. How was it in terms of the mental side of things? How difficult was that?
At first, it was really tough. After the first week, I hit a bit of a wobbly point where the exhaustion had already kind of kicked in. And I thought, wow, it's the first week. I've got another 128 days. Um, but you get used to things surprisingly quickly. I had a friend join me, which really helped and picked me up at a low point. But I was really determined. It was kind of the feeling of once I'd set out to do it, I knew I had to finish no matter how hard it would be. And I could have stopped whenever I wanted at the end of the day. It was tough at times, but I felt okay.
Now, you did tell us whilst you're updating us whilst you were away, Ben,
Mm.
and you said that the locals in particular were really kind, really generous, and they really helped you along the way. So, tell us a little bit more about those reactions and those meetings.
It was a real highlight, genuinely. I think it's a kind of hospitality that's really rare here. But I'd be invited into people's homes, and it's a real pick me up at a low point to feel welcome into a strange country. And you asked about food earlier. I had people giving me homemade food, sandwiches along the road. I felt really looked after. It really warmed my heart and kind of really renewed my faith in society a little bit. Genuine, complete sweetness.
And I think you became a bit of like a well-known person, a well-known character walking around.
Yeah,
People were talking about the Gibraltarian who was walking across Japan, so
yeah.
people knew who you were.
I think it helped because I looked a little rough on the road, but I had this bright orange raincoat, so people would recognize me from that, and I'd have people honking as they went by. Occasionally, people would stick their heads out the window and shout, "Journeyman, journeyman!" And again, just a big pick me up. Really helped me keep going.
How many times did you have to describe Gibraltar or explain what Gibraltar is? 135 for the 135 days you're away.
As many times as I spoke to people there, genuinely, but I'd show them where it was on the map, and they'd get a bit confused with Spain. So they'd go, "Congrats on the World Cup!" They got really excited throughout the second half of the trip, but yeah, they got confused with Brazil for some reason. I said Gibraltar, and I think the bra in the middle of it confused people in Japanese.
Well, it must have been quite a big language barrier, no? Because it's Japanese is just so different to English, of course, or Spanish even. And I believe that there was a bit of like lost in translation moments for you.
Yeah, completely, completely. And again, seeing where it was on the map, they try to translate things into Spanish. So it was like Chinese whispers between Spanish, Japanese, and English. Um,
Do you have
but
any funny anecdotes from where you've got it completely wrong with the Japanese?
I had the worst incident to this day. I'd been invited into someone's house, and this lovely old lady was looking after me. She'd made me dinner, and she was saying, "You look so young." And I thought I knew the word for grandmother because I'd heard it from someone I met in Tokyo, and I called her Baba, and the whole room went silent, and they kind of looked at each other, and I knew I'd put my foot in it, but I had no idea what I'd said. I left after and I looked it up, and Baba meant hag.
Oh no.
I know, it
Oh
was
no.
awful. It was awful.
I'm
After the
sure they
hospitality
realized
as
though that
well.
it was just an innocent mistake.
God, I hope so. I really hope
I'm
so.
sure they did. I'm sure you're very kind in all your
Mm,
other demeanors.
mm,
Ben, you have experienced so much of Japan. Most people would only probably experience maybe a holiday, maybe in Tokyo. It's so, the country is so large.
mm.
What would you say are some of your highlights in terms of the destinations you've seen?
I think generally the natural aspects, the nature. I did the Nakasendo Trail before I got to Tokyo, and it's these really rural, traditional, maintained towns. Like for example, all the street lights are still lamps, and someone has to go around and light them every night. I think that was some of my favorite. I just went during cherry blossom season, and the ground was covered in petals, like at a wedding. It was beautiful, really.
What would you say to anyone else who perhaps is considering taking on some kind of challenge like you've done? Perhaps not walking the length of Japan, but really, putting
Mm.
themselves through it and really challenging themselves both physically and mentally. What would your advice be?
I think just take it step by step. If you think about the whole journey, it sounds impossible, but taking a step's easy. You just take step after step, you keep doing it, and before you know it, the distance has been covered. And just go for it. I had no experience doing anything remotely like this, and I think there's always 101 reasons not to do something. But you figure it out as you go. The consequences are never as bad as you think. Just absolutely go for it. Send it if you can.
Very inspiring message. And very often when we interview people, they get kind of like the fundraising bug or the challenge bug, and then they're moving on to something else. Is
Mm.
there anything else on your bucket list perhaps that you're looking forward to doing, or are you just going to let your body rest for now?
I'm gonna let my body rest for now, for sure. I'd love to do something shorter, kind of on the opposite spectrum of the challenge. For example, I'd love to do 3 peaks or a marathon. Anything that can be done in a day. I loved the challenge. I don't think I've got the time to throw at something like this anymore again.